It was the summer of 1995, South Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. I was playing in the parking lot with my friend Ritchie, making wisecracks, playing with my rollerblades, and I hear the sound of my mom calling me. She says she wanted to go to the movie theater with my father because it was their anniversary. So as a good kid I ran to the house with my friend. And as time went on, me and my friend Ritchie decided to make pizza rolls and watch TV in the living room. It was a very old living room. It looked like something from the 1920s. The ceiling was kind of creepy too. Looked like it hasn't been painted in 20 years. It was eggshell brown. It was a bit cracky. As an hour passed, it started getting dark, which set a creepy mood for the old house that we lived in. Suddenly, my friend Richie's whole body twitches out of shock and asked me if I heard that creepy sound that was coming from the basement. I was like, "What creepy sound?" He says, "You know, the sound I just heard." "Richie, you're just trying to scare me." He looks at me with a pale look on his face. I heard it. It's coming from the basement. So I just looked at Richie. "You're just trying to scare me." So Richie decides to run out of the house and went home, leaving me there at the house by myself. I start to think about it for a while, watching Ace Ventura: Pet Detective. So I started hearing things. I just say to myself, that's probably just my imagination. It's just all in my head. But then I heard it again. I just wanted to wait on the doorstep until my mother and father came back, but I knew they would have got really mad at me and grounded me. So I just stood in the living room and just stood still watching the movie. I went into the kitchen refrigerator to pour myself another cup of Dr. Pepper, and suddenly I heard a loud noise coming from the basement, and then my heart started stinging. I dropped the glass cup of soda all over the kitchen floor, and the glass shattered everywhere. I ran to the living room out of fright, leaving a wet, sticky, glassy mess behind. I sat at my couch, hoping the noise would go away, but it didn't. It just kept sounding like there was boxes being thrown around down there in the darkness. I was so freaking out. I just wanted the noise to stop. I just want my parents to be home, but they were still out, and it was 9:05. 5 minutes passed. The sounds finally stopped, and the movie ends, but I was too scared to take the movie out of the VCR. A burst of anxiety jerks all through my body, which heard the noise down the basement, which sounded just like my mom. I got confused. Why would that be her? She calls my name, saying she has something down there for me. So I start to respond. I slowly walk to the kitchen, opening the basement door, but it was so pitch black down there. Why would she be down there in the pitch dark, calling my name? I grabbed my big brother's baseball bat, wishing he was here, but he was in summer camp. So I turned the light on. I slowly creeped down to the basement. As I walked down to the very last step, I noticed I didn't see her anywhere. All I saw was a whole bunch of boxes that had gotten torn into. I started to slowly walk to the messed up boxes, very slowly, cocking my arm back with the baseball bat. and I see some movement, some shakes behind the boxes, and I see this scary figure standing up from behind them. His body was rotten. His whole body was rotting. He looked like he was 7 foot tall, and he had blood red eyes. He kept speaking in a very crusty voice. "Where is Sarah? Where is Sarah?" He slowly walks towards me. I start to get scared. I swing my baseball bat against his head, but that escalated things. He just kept swinging his arms at me, wondering where Sarah is, but I don't know who Sarah is. He just kept chasing me around the basement. I was so terrified. I tried running past him, but he grabbed me by my left shoulder. His fingernails were so long and gray and razor sharp, which made blood stream from my arm. I started to cry and sob. I just wanted to get away from him, but he kept swinging his arms, running towards me. I kept running, scattering. I tried to get to the basement steps, but he kept blocking my every move and knocked me across the room. My body landed on a pile of my family's dirty laundry, which made me happy I didn't land on anything sharp or very hard. I quickly picked my body up and headed towards the basement stairs. In success, I finally got up there. I slammed the door behind me, and I put something very heavy on the door to stop the door from opening. The creature downstairs was trying to break itself through the door. I was panicking. I used my whole body to stop him from coming through. He kept scratching. He kept growling. He just would not stop. But finally, as a burst of relief, across the way I heard the sound of the front door knob jiggling, the sound of keys behind the door. As the door unlocks and opens, the sound from behind the basement door goes away. As my parents comes into the living room, they see me across the way, pressing against the basement door, crying with confusion in their faces. She calls to me, "Son, why are you pressing against the basement door and crying? Come and help us, we bought some stuff." I quickly run from the basement store and try to explain why I was helping my parents bring all the bags in. But they were more interested about the wet, glassy, sticky mess that I left on the kitchen floor. A few days go by. Everything was very quiet. My father decided to go down to the basement. He looks at all the boxes and he's extremely angry, thinking I was the one that made a big mess. As he walked to the corner of the room where most of the boxes were in the basement, he sees a big hole, and what was in the hole was complete darkness, and it was very long and far. He says to himself, "This hole wasn't here before. How did this happen?" He calls for me from down the basement with an angry voice. I walk down slowly, hoping nothing scary was going to happen. He's over there at the corner where the hole was, and he accuses me, saying, "Son, what the hell did you and your friend do? How did this hole get here?" I was like, "I don't know. It's the first time I've ever seen it myself." As he screams at me for a good 5 minutes, these two grayish, creepy, rotting arms creep up from the hole behind him, pulling him in. He yells. He gets dragged through the darkness of the abyss, screaming, and his voice keeps getting lower and lower until you can't hear him no more. My father and that terrifying monster was never heard from again. The end.